Hello and welcome on in. Thank you for joining me. One of the toughest things when it comes to understanding data is communicating that data to somebody else. We've come to an understanding, but how do we get others to come to that same understanding? Well, I thank you for joining me and Cole Nussbaum-Knaflic and her seminal book, Storytelling with Data, to try and put those pieces together. One of the hardest choices that we have is deciding which of these many visual representations that we have. Each of them are fabulous tools for communicating all sorts of information, but the scope of that information and the way each of these communicate are highly different. So we're going to start with the simplest of these and telling the shortest stories, and that is simple text. Now, think of simple text as driving along on the freeway and you look up at a billboard. You only get a few seconds to consume that information before it's gone. So we need to design our simple text to achieve the same goal. Let's go ahead and take a look at this statistic. As of 2017, the average American will eat an estimated 12.7 pounds of ice cream each year. This is down from 14.8 pounds per person in 2007. This information is given to us by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Economic Research Service. This statement by itself is kind of long, so we're going to want to shorten it up so that somebody else can come to an understanding over it as fast as possible, preferably faster than we came to understand it. So, most of us would probably leap for a bar graph. It's one of the easiest and the most accessible. A lot of people read it. And while this would be very good at displaying the information, oh, in 2007, there was more, and in 2014, there was less, that's more of a trend line. So now you would probably be saying, well, why don't I just show that in a line? Here's the problem. You have to determine what a story is, what story the data is telling, before you can choose your visual. So what is the story of the quotation that we just read, the statistic that we just saw? Yes, it's true that the number decreased over the measurement period, but what makes this story so amazing is the sheer weight of it. How many pounds of that amazing ice cream that we are consuming? Sorry to say, I am a bit of an ice cream lover myself. So I'm not sorry to say, I love ice cream. So let's take a look at this quote one more time and start parsing out the most essential components because we want this to be billboard fast. We want one thought in 1 second. So some of the most important information here is the 12.7 pounds and the concept of it being consumed. All right, now remember 12.7 pounds isn't nothing. It's the same as this little guy, our Australian Terrier. Aw. He's so adorable. But at any rate, let's go ahead and reword this text. Parse it down into a simpler statement. So now we have the following. The average American eats 12.7 pounds of ice cream, which is down from 14.8 pounds per person in 2007. Don't worry, each year will come back in a later incarnation. So now we need to make sure that that most important information is as poppy as possible. So I'm going to do a little design magic, and there you go. Now that 12.7, that huge weight is sitting right in front of us. But let's think about this for a second. Yes, that 12.7 pounds of ice cream is impressive, but the reason it's impressive is because we eat it. We consume that amount of ice cream. So were either of these the correct answer? Maybe not. But each of them provide a different way to access the story that was being told by the data. Each provide a different emphasis, and they're able to do so very quickly. I hope that this has been helpful because as we continue our series in storytelling with data, we have a lot of other visualization options to consider, and simple text is definitely going to be following us around for the majority of our time together. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.